Let's get ready to rumble!
I can't believe it's over. I can't believe we're through.
Okay, so it hasn't been confirmed as a split as yet, but Joshua hasn't been in the Sheffield setup with Rob McCracken, and the Sun website is saying they do not expect Rob to follow AJ to wherever he's going. Now, just the other month, we saw AJ visiting a whole load of gyms, talking to a whole load of trainers. So everything's getting rehauled after the loss to Alexander Usyk. Eddie Hearn said he expects a new regime to be implemented for the new year. Eddie said, I feel it might be time to move on from that environment because when you've been there since you were 18 and you go into GB and Anthony Joshua is everywhere, he's God. I just feel it's time to rough him up a little bit. Not in log cabins in the middle of nowhere, but up there it's, oh my God, it's AJ because they're all so proud of him. Now, Rob is not necessarily totally out the picture, according to Eddie. But that just sounds like diplomacy there from Eddie. Rob is effectively gone. Who will it be? Eddie Reynoso? Ronnie Shields? Virgil Hunter? Roy Jones claimed that he offered his services and Joshua said, talk to my people, which Roy took as a dismissal. And the Thirsty YouTube channel went along with that on the title of their video. All I know is Tyson Fury is backing AJ to win, so that could be a bad sign because it seems like AJ has made a career of Fury backing against him and then AJ winning the fight. Now, I believe Fraser Clark, who Eddie said like he was going to put a bid in to get Fraser on DAZN and MATCHROOM, but he said the money that Sky put up, this like, forget about it. You know what I mean? So Sky not messing about, but Fraser's still in the Sheffield gym, and I'm assuming with Rob McCracken. That's where he was as an amateur, and that's where he is now. He won the bronze in Tokyo in the Olympics this year. A lot of people are going to say, no, don't go with Rob McCracken. Don't go with Rob McCracken. You're overdoing it. I don't care what anybody says or what you think you know about boxing. You're overdoing it. Yeah? Fraser fights in a totally different style to AJ. And look, I'm not going to pretend like Rob McCracken didn't have success with AJ. He had a lot of success. So did Tony Sims have a lot of success with AJ. But, you know, who knows? Like, it could be a great partnership. Got to give the guy a chance. I don't get ESPN over here. I don't have a cable package right now. But here it says, no TV in the US. We're talking about Inoue against Aaron DePayne, if that's how you pronounce it. Now, I saw the fight. I got a delayed recording. Let's say 12 p.m. So I'm assuming they broadcasted this in Japan around maybe 10, 11, maybe even earlier, where it's not exactly a primetime slot on ESPN. I mean, look at this. In the National Sumo Stadium, Tokyo, TV stream, no TV in US. Note, reports indicated that ESPN might stream the card. Now, it's either on the schedule or it's not on the schedule, surely. Inoue last fought before this fight in June. They had 6 months to get prepared and surely get some promotion on the event. 6 months is more than long enough to prepare his next fight to know if you're going to air it on ESPN or not. Now, let's be honest. I don't care if you're a Bob Arum sycophant or not. You be honest to yourself. Do you think Bob Arum saw Inoue fight before he won the Super Series tournament against Danair? Do you think he saw it? Nope, I don't think he did either. I don't think Bob could focus on a boxing match for 20 minutes without pissing on himself. This was someone else's decision. Yo, Bob, sign the Japanese guy who won the WBSS. Do you know how much millions watched this fight in Japan? You can get some of that money.
That's the way the business works.
Can't stand it. Before the fight, this is what I said on Twitter. Bob butchered Inoue's career as well. I doubt he saw Josh Taylor win the Super Series either against Regis Progress. I doubt he saw it. Now, since Josh Taylor won the undisputed light welterweight titles, all we've heard is frustration. Oh, they're not showing my fight on Sky. They're not showing the fight here and there. The one person he hasn't addressed, as bad as his temper is, and that's one thing I don't like about people. You know, people who seem like they're very aggressive and hot-tempered? But they never address who they should address, despite all that fire they seem to have. All your frustrations, whether you're Inoue or Josh Taylor, has to be put on the back of Bob Arum. And don't tell me it's any other way. He's paid to promote. He signed 2 fighters who won the WBSS tournaments not on American soil, abroad. So obviously these guys have to be promoted differently from Shakur Stevenson, differently from Oscar Valdez. Although Mexican, he fights mainly in America. Here's a challenge if you're across the pond. Don't even go up to casuals. I want you to go up to hardcore boxing fans and ask them who Josh Taylor's next opponent is. That's if you know yourself. You think anyone knows Jack Catterall in America right now? Who knows him? Tell me how Bob Arum is promoting that fight over there. Now, at least it's going to be broadcast live on Sky, at least. Pre-sale tickets will be available on Wednesday. I've probably done more promotion than Bob has for this fight, just saying what I just said there. Now, the fight is not until the 26th of February, so there's a long way to go, but Bob ain't going to promote this fight how it needs to be promoted in the UK. He ain't going to do that. Who's he got over here from ESPN on the ground to connect to the fans and the public? Frank Warren? Give me a break. Kathy Duva, she had Kovalev a few years back fighting on ESPN. So basically, that all goes through Bob Arum. And what did Bob say? When there was talk of a light heavyweight tournament on the WBSS and Kovalev entering it, we're not giving our fighters away to anybody to fight on a different platform in a fucking tournament. Instead, he signs the winners of them tournaments and has no idea how to promote them because they're foreigners. He didn't offer Tyson Fury a promotional deal in America after he beat Klitschko, did he? Nope. He waited until Fury drew with Deontay Wilder and Frank went running to him for some muscle to negotiate with Showtime and the PBC. If you think Bob Arum is a good promoter, that's because you're an inexperienced boxing fan. But he's not a good promoter. He's an opportunist. Bob Arum and Al Heyman destroyed the WBSS tournament. They destroyed it with their non-participation. And now Arum seems hell-bent on destroying the careers of maybe 2 of the best who have won tournaments via the WBSS. It's a worse situation for Josh Taylor. You know, like Inoue probably had millions of people watching without ESPN in Japan. I believe it was a stadium fight. We know the TV numbers he's produced before, like in the WBSS final. And this is why Bob signed him, because he saw the success. But he's not transferring that success to America because he doesn't know how to, or he just can't fucking be bothered. He's making him just look like some obscure Japanese guy in America. Here's my prediction for next year, that either Josh Taylor or Inoue, one of them will not see out 2022 with Bob Arum. Now, I don't know how long their contracts are, but one of them's going to get the fuck out of there. Maybe both of them, or they're going to become very disgruntled. As for Inoue, I don't know the quality of the opponent, but Inoue is always good to watch. Doubling up, tripling up left hooks. Great body work, crisp, precise, fast puncher. Got his man out of there in the 8th. They could have pulled him out a round or so before. I believe John Rio Casemiro live streamed the fight either on Facebook or whatever platform. He live streamed it because I guess no one could see it. I don't know if he's going to get himself in trouble. Remember, Kovalev did that. He illegally live streamed Canelo versus Callum Smith just a month before he was supposed to fight Beckham. Yeah, I don't know if Casemiro's going to get in trouble or not. I don't really care. Hopefully we get them in the ring in some kind of unification soon. That's all I'm interested in. But Bob will probably cock that up promoting it as well. Canelo probably did about 600k in pay-per-views against Caleb Plant. He didn't do 800. Even Eddie Hearn G'd him up in that interview. You know, Canelo did $1 million plus against Triple G. So that's way below his best. Fury and Wilder, they were down on their numbers they did on the second fight. Andy Ruiz done 100,000 against Chris Arreola. Sean Porter versus Terence Crawford was at 100,000 or something. Tank versus Isaac Cruz was around 100, whatever. Not a great year for pay-per-view buys. I mean, I don't know what the Usyk numbers were, but AJ himself, he done 600,000 against Ppv'S last year. That's way down on his best numbers. Way down. But the PBC, they're pushing forward with Charles Martin versus Luis Ortiz and Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios on pay-per-view. Now, the PBC at this point, they need somebody vocal to explain to the consumer base and potential consumer base why they should be paying for them fights there. Now, I have a rough idea of what's happening, you know, like after that Canelo hit, Canelo took the money and ran. They either don't have the money or they're going to pay the purses, if possible, by pay-per-view. Tank Davis needs a dance partner. There's no doubt about that. And the dance partner is not on TMT. Not Isaac Cruz, not Rowley. He's not there. Now, Tank ain't the only one who needs a dance partner. Leonard ELLERBE, he needs a dance partner. The messed up thing is if Leonard and Eddie were to get together and front a promotion, they'd do a great job selling it. They would do. But Leonard wants to play tough guy. They need to get together and put Haney and Tank in a fight. That's what they need to do. Now, there's a few reasons why TMT don't do cross promotions. One, I don't think they've got that much faith in Tank. And the other is they don't want to be like Haney and Andrade begging Eastern Europeans and Mexicans for fights. They don't want to do that. And why I'm saying that, it's very divisively segregated out there. And they don't want to be in that position. The way Canelo spoke to Andrade after the Billy Joe Saunders fight at the press conference, they don't want that happening to them. Oh, I'm begging you for a fight. No, they don't want no part of that. And I don't blame them. Look at Munguia. Direct shot at Andrade, but wants to fight another eliminator. Determined not to fight him. And see, this pattern is occurring too much for it to be a coincidence. Jojo and Ryan both were mandated to fight Devin, but rather than fight Devin for the strap, they were going to fight each other until Ryan pussied out. And Jojo had nowhere else to go but fight Devin. Oscar Valdez is on top rank. Shakur Stevenson is on top rank. Oscar Valdez just ducking him with no shame. And the reason he has no shame is his fan base are not demanding the fight. When it comes up, oh, Shakur's a runner, he doesn't sell, and all, you know, all that. That's all they go to all the time. Tank's popularity is at an all-time low. This is the time to do it. This is the time to do it. Now, I've always prided, not prided, that's the wrong phrasing. I've never been a materialistic person. Never. But I'm not a bullshitter. I'm fully aware that if I lived in an impoverished country, I wouldn't be able to be so picky on what I say I would do and would not do for money. I get that. So I think to myself, would I be Floyd Mayweather's dog's body to take all that abuse online that Floyd himself is not willing to take, considering how much I love boxing as well? And that's what Leonard ELLERBE is doing. Leonard right now is just blocking people on Twitter, going back and forth with Rick Glazer, Dan Raphael, because they're not happy with the fights that Floyd and ELLERBE are providing for Tank Davis. They're just not happy with it. And it's not just them. There's so many people who are just not impressed. And a lot of that PBC contingent, they seem to be very disgruntled with them as well, which is weird because they've been very reluctant to encourage their fighters, Charlo, Spence, to do cross promotions, but they're frustrated by Leonard and Floyd, which is strange to me. I mean, Wilder turned down how much to fight Anthony Joshua? Not because he was scared, but because they had an agenda to keep him on Showtime, rather than let him fight for Undisputed on the network that was willing to pay up the money. If you didn't want Wilder to go, well, you bring a counter offer to what John Skipper and DAZN were putting on the table, but they didn't do that. Instead, they tried these lame, catchy phrases, oh, I'm betting on myself, and just stupidness. So, you know, the fact that they're frustrated with Floyd and Leonard, they're just like jumping off the sinking ship, aren't they? Because now they're starting to take a lot of shots at Al Heyman. Why do you give Canelo the 50 mil and let him bounce? You could put up money for him to fight on the network, but you can't find nothing for Haney versus Tank? This is what they're saying. I was saying it years back, during the Wilder and Fury feud anyway, that Al Heyman is not pro-black. He's a businessman. He's a Harvard businessman. I was saying that a long time ago. And I more or less predicted this. Deontay Wilder's pondering retirement. I have a feeling that someone's going to have a word with him and say, boy, you can't retire yet, man. You're one of the last or few attractions we have left. Sean Porter, one of the few elite PBC fighters to cross to the other side of the street. He got retired by Terence Crawford. So the cross-promotion thing hasn't worked for them at all this year. It hasn't. I was saying the other day that I don't think Wilder should retire. And I'm realizing why I'm saying that. I think it's because of the back and forth between him and Joshua, the Wilder-friendly media, the Joshua-friendly media, and the fan bases of both sides. And I'm thinking, after all this, you're going to walk away? I mean, after he lost to Fury in the third fight this year, he did say, whether AJ loses to Usyk or not, I want that fight. And now he's retiring. But he said that he's achieved all he wanted to achieve from boxing. When you say stuff like that, then it's probably time to retire, isn't it? I mean, he said he's achieved all he wanted to achieve from boxing. Well, what happened to one face, one name and all that? So he doesn't want to be undisputed. Probably doesn't think he can learn anymore. And I don't think he can with Malik, to be honest. Malik ain't no coach. Malik needs a gym to be a coach. Somebody said, I don't know what I'm talking about, that you need a gym to be a coach. And, you know, these people really believe they know more about boxing than I do. And they don't. Why do you need a gym to be a coach? Well, you don't want to have too many fighters because then you're going to be spreading yourself thin. But you need to have a few fighters in the gym. So when you're working on that fighter, you see certain strengths that he has, certain things you do for him that work for him, and then you could transfer these skills you're learning from one fighter to another, and so on and so on. That's how you improve as a coach. There's two teachers in that gym. Fighters learn from coaches, but coaches learn from fighters. That's why you need a gym to be a coach. You can't be there just training Wilder in the back garden. It's ridiculous. LeBron Richards, he's fighting on Saturday on the Derek Chisora bill. And Derek's been in the same gym that LeBron is in with Dave Caldwell. And LeBron has been saying what an inspiration Derek is to the young fighters in the gym. That's how a gym is supposed to function. The gym is supposed to be a place where it's not just coaching a fighter, right? It's an accumulative effort between everybody in there to achieve excellence. Not just one man and another boxer in the back garden. That's not a gym. Frank Warren, they're targeting March, Principality Stadium in Cardiff. 2022 for Fury versus Dillian Whyte. Now, listening to Frank Warren, I don't think they're prepared to move off that 80-20. So I don't know what's going to happen. I just have a feeling that Dillian isn't meant to get this WBC shot. I reckon something's going to happen, like we might go into another lockdown, so they won't be able to do it in a stadium, and are they going to have it behind closed doors? I don't know. Something's going to go wrong. Let's hope I'm wrong. Beterbiev versus Marcus Browne. A lot of boxing happening this weekend. A lot. Not saying it's the last shot of the dice for Marcus, but I don't think Beterbiev is that good defensively, and apparently he was a little bit over the weight, Beterbiev. A lot of people have been saying he should have moved up a long time ago. He got back to the scale and made weight. What bearing is this going to have on the fight? We're just going to have to see. This is a shot as Marcus is going to get. He's probably going to get mauled, but he does have the power and the speed and the technique to catch Beterbiev early. And you never know what could happen. You never know. But Beterbiev by mauling is the pick here. That takes place in Montreal, Canada. Closer to home, there's a very good card on your DAZN subscription. Apologies to the ladies, I'm not that familiar with Sandy Ryan and Rhiannon Dixon, but you know, they're on there. Alan Babbage, the Savage, she's taking on what looks like a bit of a stuffed turkey in David Spilmont, 11-7-1. Babbage, for me personally, is good entertainment, so I'm looking forward to that. Jordan Thompson, 6'6" cruiserweight, 11-0 with a whole load of stoppages. He's on the card. Zelfa Barrett. Now, he's going to want to redeem the Black Flash stable after Lyndon got run over by Yard the other week. He's got a tough opponent in front of him, apparently, Bruno Tarimo. This is an eliminator for one of the sanctioning belts, Eddie said, but I can't remember which one, as Super Feather. Should be a good fight. Jack Cullen could have defended his IBF Intercontinental whatever strap. But he told Eddie, I've sold a whole load of tickets. He wants to fight Kevin Lele Sajo, 16-0 with 40 knockouts. This is for the European super middleweight title. So this is a big fight for Jack Cullen. Big fight. Looking forward to that. You've got Carlos Gongora versus Leron Richards. Now, when it was announced that this fight was happening and Joshua Buatsi was taking on Vlasov, we were saying, whoa, you're really stepping up the stable, Eddie. But Joshua has since got injured, so the Vlasov fight may be rescheduled, or he might fight Craig Richards next year, is what Eddie was saying. My hunch is that Buatsi will fight Craig Richards and not Vlasov. Now, Carlos Gongori's got that old man style that wears well when the reflexes have gone. Technician, good fighter against Leron Richards, very smooth southpaw. I thought Leron was from the Midlands. I don't know why, but he's not. He's only got 3 stoppages in 15 fights. Gongora has got about 15 stoppages in 20 fights. He's had as much stoppages as Leron has had fights. So, punching power advantage theoretically goes to Carlos Gongora, but boxing just doesn't work like that all the time, does it? Is Leron's lack of power going to hurt him, or is he going to not concern himself with that and go out and box the fight that he's supposed to fight and win? I don't know. This is a really good fight for the IBO world title. Do you really count it as a world title? It's up to you. Headlining, we have Joseph Parker versus Derek Chisora. Joseph said it's hard not to be inspired by Tyson Fury, and that's probably true. He said he's feeding off the energy of Tyson Fury and Andy Lee. He's moved to Manchester. Now, I've never boxed, so, like, where you get your inspirations from, who am I to say? But an opponent like Derek Chisora will quickly make you realize that Tyson Fury can't get in the ring and fight for you. This is real. I was going to say that Derek is going to get it right this time, but he got it right last time. He just didn't get the verdict. Joseph can't afford a start like he had last time. If Derek catches him with that overhand right early again,
Bitch, it's curtains.
Derek is way more intelligent than a lot of people give him credit for. And just like he did better in the second Dillian White fight until he got caught, I expect him to walk down Parker's jab and apply the pressure and do just as well as he did in the first fight. Joe could be the better athlete, might have the faster feet and hands, but Derek, make no mistake, is the better fighter in there. Now, Joe can cite perhaps there was no atmosphere, no crowd, rusty, inactive, and that he's a better fighter than that. But actually proving it in the ring is going to be a lot harder. Without help from the officials who are judging, Joe cannot beat that version that he fought last of Derek Chisora. He can't beat him. Joe will need Derek to have deteriorated from the last time they fought till they meet in the ring on Saturday. And if that's the case, he can get the victory. That's just my opinion. Now, another opinion is if you scored it for Joe, then you obviously think that body punches is probably one of them things that you hear, yeah, they do score body punches, but they don't really score them. Perhaps you're of that persuasion. If Joe wins this, I would argue it's a bigger victory than the Andy Ruiz victory. A lot of people are marveling over Andy Lee as a pundit, as a coach. Andy Lee's great, man. He's on Team Fury. But Andy Lee hasn't proven he's got what it takes to mold Joe into the type of boxer that beats Chisora. Like, Parker needs to be doing what Floyd was telling Tank when he was fighting Isaac Cruz. Turn him, turn him, turn him, turn him, turn him, turn him. Don't stand in front of him. Turn him. Derek by late stoppage or on points is my pick.